Yes, yes, boys and girls, we are at the beginning of the work week. We don't like Monday, but this Monday, we love this Monday. This is Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, Conan Lycan. What's up, my man? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, man?
Ah, man. Uh, Today's workday went by so damn slow because I've been looking so forward to talking to one Conan Lycan. So I do want to appreciate your time setting it aside to come and talk to us, the fans, because this isn't my show. This is our show for the fans to get to know the talent that we see out on the indie scene. And
Mm.
I cannot thank you enough for your time, my friend.
Oh no, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to kind of start back to the only place I can probably really start. I met Conan Lycan at Survival Championship Wrestling, Rensselaer, New York. Is that
Hmm.
correct?
Yeah, Rensselaer. Yeah.
And I didn't know a lot of people there, but on the other token, I did know a lot of faces there, familiar faces from my area. I'm from Connecticut, and we did speak just a little bit at the show
Hmm.
because I wanted to introduce you myself before I came up with my phone and started being a jackass. Uh, but
Yeah.
we didn't get to talk too much at the show. Where's your area? Because I've seen you're doing some cool stuff. You're making your way around. I'm from Connecticut, my friend. Where are you out
So I'm from Albany, New York, but I currently live in Davenport, Iowa, because I
of?
went to Black and Brave to train with like Seth Rollins and all that stuff. So I after I was done training at Black and Brave, I went back to New York for a little bit of time. That's where I met you. Did a couple shows out there, and then just came back out to Davenport full time. And I've just been all around the country ever since I've been out here. I go everywhere.
Well, fortunate for myself, being selfish, when you were out here, we got to see you live for the very first time, baby. And let me tell you something. Mr. Lycan comes through the curtain. And I know we're talking as friends right here, but I booed the shit out of you
You
when you
did.
came through that when you came through that curtain, because what we like to do as fans, with the men and women we don't know, we wait for you to come through that curtain and give us those signals. What are we supposed to do if we're unfamiliar with your character and your name? You know what I'm saying? So you're making your way around. You're trying to spread your wings. You're making a splash at different companies. This is a debuting event for Survival Championship Wrestling. There's a lot going on. So when you come through the curtain and you're getting a good reaction, and I'm not saying that I was leading the charge, but I'll tell you, right where the curtain is, I'm on that corner and I boo. And when I boo, it's loud and proud. You're going to hear me. But you got a nice little reaction coming out, and you were giving it to us too.
Oh yeah.
Debuting in a new company and getting a little bit of that heat right off the ripper, and then you giving it right back to us. That must have been some fun for you, Mr. Lycan, yes?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get a pretty good reaction no matter where I go and all that stuff. So it's cool when you're debuting at like a company that's new and you get a reaction right off the rip and stuff like that. Silence is bad in wrestling and stuff like that. So whether it's a good reaction or a bad reaction, you're doing your job. So yeah,
Yeah, you definitely don't want that hush hush of the crowd when you come through that curtain. You don't want that.
yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to continue with the SCW because it was their debut, and I know they were supposed to come back. And I didn't know if Mr. Lycan was going to be part of that roster, but obviously you're residing in Iowa right now. But you don't mind doing the travels, the drives, if you will. So you don't mind spreading your wings to wherever you can get your hands in a promotion. Is that correct? I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I bounce around everywhere. Like, it's me and a core group of guys out here, and like we just, if we're booked, we go. And we just drove to Philly. We did GCW. Uh, Drove back. We've been here. We got a show in Indiana in the next couple weeks. Come back from Indiana. Then we drive out to New Jersey for GCW, drive back, and then we drive to Nashville and we're wrestling on another company, and then we're driving back too. So yeah, we're everywhere, but that's what you got to do to get your name out there and stuff like that. You got to be. It's a hard thing to do, but that's why the people that put the work into it, they get a lot more out of it. So
Uh, the the spoils that you get from getting in the car, filling it up with your friends, may it be female or male, that are might be able to be on the card or are already scheduled to be on the card. When you're saying we, are there names that we might know that are driving with you to these shows?
it's usually me, Steve Manders, Solomon Tupu, big Samoan dude. And there's a mix. We just got a new roommate. His name is Gunner Brave, and he's been in the cars with us now. And
Oh,
you guys
okay.
should be seeing him too. But yeah, we all just get in the car and go, and it makes the long rides better when you're in there with the right group of people. And I mean, it's better than just staying stagnant. And it's tough in a time of COVID right now, and we don't want to just like sit around and just wait for opportunities, because that's not going to happen. You got to go out there and take it.
With the way the world is right now, I think that's a great message. And I know that a lot of companies are still down and they won't open until whatever kind of normalcy is normal. I just don't know what the hell normal is going to be. None of us do, obviously. But like you're saying, get out there, because there are plenty of companies right now that are running. They're doing it more of a, not disclosed, even GCW, like you were speaking, that was undisclosed area. We
Mhm.
didn't know where that was. There was no fans. There might be some workers around the ring giving the chatter. For the camera, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, Now SCW, when you come out, you're a big guy. Uh, and don't take this the wrong way, but you're freaking gorgeous. I mean, holy shit! You look beautiful. You look fantastic. You got the hair going. I hate you for that because I need more hair. Now, you come out and you're doing your thing. All right, the match is going on, and any of the shows that I like to go to, I try to be right there in the front row. I think that's the most vibrant feel that you can get at an indie show. I just love that I don't know, that just ambiance of an independent show. But when you're up front, it's a whole different animal, because here's Mr. Lycan, and if I'm not mistaken, were you going against Jack Rebel? Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Uh, my man is doing his thing outside of the ring, and it's right in front of me, and I am. Can I drop an F bomb? Do you mind? Is that okay?
I don't mind. This is your show.
My man is just annihilating Mr. Jack Rebel, and then he fucking does a standing moonsault. I lost my shit. I'm like, wait a minute. This big dude is doing some really cool stuff that you expect a cruiserweight to do. So my long-winded, I guess, question would be, you're very athletic for your size. Where does that come from? Obviously, you train like an MFer, but where does that acrobatic style from a big guy come from?
Well, I come from a really athletic family. All my family members have played professional sports, and being like growing up in my family and all that stuff, it was just like what I did, just play sports my whole life, and wrestling was like the first love of my life and all that. So like when I was a little kid, I had a trampoline and I'd mess around and do flips and stuff, and I'd backflip off garbage cans, off fences, all that stuff, and I just never really like grew out of it. And like everyone everyone now makes like a big deal out of it because I weigh 255 pounds, but like I I just never forgot how to do that stuff. It was like riding a bike to me. And
Right.
yeah, it's just something I've been doing my whole entire life, and I don't know, I like it, and it's gonna stick because it gets a good reaction out of the people, because I haven't seen anyone my size do any of this stuff.
Yeah, the bigger guys aren't, so visually the bigger guys aren't supposed to be doing that kind of stuff in wrestling. So when you see, and I'll just use Keith Lee because of he's climbed up the ladder and boom, here we are. Uh,
Mm.
my man does some crazy stuff for a big guy, but those are the things visually for fans when we see this stuff. And I've spoken to the bigger guys that I have friendships and relationships with out of the ring. It's like all you need is one or two of these moves. We as fans, we're so damn easy, we will lose our ever loving mind. And that's exactly what happened right in front of me. Conan Lycan does a standing moonsault. I think I just heard a weird noise. Let me turn those off. I apologize if you heard that. Um, and he does a standing moonsault with Jack Rebel on the ground. And I lost my mind because these are the things that make the fans go, wow, while telling your story, because you don't have to do 30 of those.
Yeah.
As a big guy, you get to mix it up a bit. What is your go-to? What is your style, if you will? If someone, a promoter, you're reaching out to a promoter, we'll say, and the promoter goes, what's your style? What's your answer for that?
I'm a hybrid. So there's the high flyers, there's the brawlers, there's just big dudes that just do slams and all that stuff. I could do it all, and I'm not trying to be cocky or anything like that. I'm still new to the business, working wise, but yeah, I could actually do it all. There's not a thing athletically that I've been too challenged with where I'm like, oh, I can't do that. It's more so psychology wise, you got to get that stuff down. But yeah, man, athletically, that stuff is it comes easy to me. It's something that I could just pick up quickly. So yeah, if people ever ask me like, what are you and all that stuff, it's a hybrid, baby. I do it all. I can do it all.
When you speak about wrestling, you have a beautiful smile. You seem to have a very burning passion for wrestling. And I know, we start off as fans and work our way up to our dreams, as you and the men and women do, to become a wrestler. But when you speak about wrestling, you have a beautiful smile, Mr. Lycan, and it seems that you really are enjoying what you're doing right now in your career. Um, Now, you haven't been in the game, like you said, very long. When I met you, I think you might have been around maybe a yearish. Is that correct?
That was my fourth match. My fourth
Oh,
when I
wow.
met you. That was my fourth singles match. I when I graduated, it took, and this is why I bring it up now, and I'm unapologetic about it. But when I graduated from Black and Brave and I came back to New York, no one would book me, and I didn't know what it was, and I was super respectful, and yeah, it took about 8 months before I got booked, and I had my first match, and I did really well. And they told me, they're like, no, we have our own guys though. They're like, so we have a wrestling school. I'm not going to name names. And I was like, okay. So then I had to wait for other companies to start up before I started getting booked. But it was a bunch of multi-man things that I was doing at the time. And a lot of people, like I said, they slept on me. And I'm glad that they did, because it made me relocate and work harder. And, you know, last week I just wrestled for the best independent company in the world. So they slept on the wrong one, and they're going to regret that.
Unfortunately, uh, the New England area, you fell asleep. You dropped the ball on my man, Mr. Lycan. Now he kind of went back to the Iowa area, and he's starting to kill it. He's getting some eyes on him right now, and he's moving and shaking. New England area, I live here, but damn you for letting Mr. Lycan go away, because he could have been. And I'm not saying you're not something over there. Man, we have a lot of beautiful talent that comes out of the New England area, and I wish that you were one of those guys that stuck around to really be part of something in our immediate area, because I would love to see you more often. But I'm going to move on from the SCW, because you did have a fine match. We had a great time.
Yeah.
And then we talked during intermission, just for a smidge, because I wanted to introduce myself, because I was hoping with my loud and proud boos, you weren't going to strangle me, because I'm a little guy. I don't want you to hurt me. So I had to make sure that we were that we were cool. You're like, hey Mo, I'm in the biz. I get it. We had a great time, and I appreciate it. You even gave me a little thanks for that, and I will never forget that, because that was, again, our only meeting. So then SCW comes and goes for that first event. I haven't really heard hide or hair of Mr. Lycan, because now you've relocated again. Talk to us about relocating. Obviously, there was a reason why you did it, because you just weren't getting the eyes or the calls, if you will, and you're like, hey, I'm going back to Iowa. When you get there, how easy was it to start spreading your wings compared to when you were over here in the New England area?
Um, so it was a big deal to like come back to Iowa and everything like that. For me, like moving to the Midwest, something that, like, I'm from New York. I'm not comfortable out in the Midwest, but it's home base because of Black and Brave, and who my trainer is and all that stuff. And I spend every day for the most part with him in the school and training and all that. So I made the decision that if I want to make it in this business and I want to be someone in this business, it's necessary to go out there and just do it. So I came out, and you still got to put the work in. You got to show up at these shows. You got to do ring setup. You got to get your name out there and all that. So I was taking what I could get, and then I started making highlights and all that. And then now there's other companies and stuff that actually see what I'm about, and they've already seen the size and the strength and all that other stuff. But now they're actually seeing me work, and it's beginning to be something special where I could spread my wings out and just be everywhere on all the important places, because it's important to me to, like I said before, not stay stagnant and just be out getting everything and anything I could get where it matters, because I want the quality reps and all that stuff. Because like I said, I'm still learning. So if I'm in there with guys that are as good, if not better, then I'm only going to be getting better myself. And this type of thing, you have to do it constantly to be good at it. It's not one of those things where you could take breaks or slack or whatever. You're going to get out of it what you put into it. So you got to constantly be working. And yeah, it's just wrestling is way bigger out here in the Midwest, and it's been a whole lot better coming out here and training every single day, having a ring, having one of the best brains in wrestling to pick, and just be able to be around him and Becky and Merrick Brave and all the other trainers and stuff. Like it's amazing to have that and use it. And yeah, I think I made the best decision for myself. So
Well, I'm going to have to agree with you there, because out of nowhere, I started seeing Mr. Lycan. So something is really working well for yourself. Because, when we get on, it's a world of social media. That's very evident. When you don't see somebody active on their social media pages, you're like, where the hell did he go? I want to see more Mr. Lycan. And then out of nowhere, some stuff started coming out. And I'm like, I got to catch up with Mr. Lycan, because I only seen him that one time. Hopefully he doesn't say buzz off, you freakazoid. So I appreciate that. But what really kind of got me back on the saddle of following up with Mr. Lycan was when we saw. Now I've spoken about this on the show, Stirring the Pot, is not that long ago, within the last week or two, GCW, Game Changer Wrestling, they did something for the first time ever. It was a historic 24-hour run where they started on a Friday evening. It was like two Fridays ago, correct?
Yeah.
So it was started on Friday at 8 o'clock, and then it ran all the way to Saturday at 8 o'clock. And Mr. Lycan, you got to be part of that historic event. And what they did was they grabbed promotions, and they did like 5-6 matches. Then they took a little break, did some sponsor commercials, did another 5-6 matches with another promotion. When you're coming into this GCW event, what promotion are you coming under the umbrella of? And how the hell do you get on a historic event like that? I mean, holy cow.
I was under the umbrella of GCW. So
oh, okay.
Yeah. They so I've been going to all their shows and helping out. One of my best friends is Benjamin Carter. He's in the WWE now, UK, and he was wrestling for Game Changer Wrestling. And then Steve Manders, the guy that I'm in the car with, he's one of my really good friends as well. He wrestled for Game Changer Wrestling. So I've been going to these shows and helping out all summer. And Brett Lauderdale, the guy that runs it, he gave me a shot that night, and I hit it out of the park, and here we are. And now I'm booked on the next show. So it's a lot of hard work and all that stuff, but it's definitely worth it.
Now, are you part of the active roster of GCW, like a continual part of the roster?
I'm trying to still prove. So I'm booked on the next show in New Jersey, in Atlantic City, on the 6th, March 6th. Okay. But yeah, I'm still out here just trying to prove myself and make a name for myself and all that. So yeah, hopefully I'll be a mainstay there. But I just gotta go out there and be myself, So.
Now again, you've had a short tenure of a career. How many matches are we up to right now under your belt?
15.
15.
Yeah.
Are you about 2 years, a little bit more than 2 years deep right now? Is that safe to say?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's hard to base because I graduated at the end of 2018. Took 8 months to get booked, and then when I got to New York, it was like one show every couple of months, and then yeah, I haven't worked this much like the whole time I was in New York since I got out here this summer because I moved back out this summer, and I've been going crazy nonstop. I still only had 9 singles matches, but we're up to 15 matches in total with all the multi-man stuff and all that. So we're still
Nice.
learning, but it's comes in time. You gotta just be out there getting it. So yeah, hopefully I'll get more opportunities as the time goes, but it's still learning. So
It just seems odd to me. You're in New York, not feeling the work coming in. So you move to Iowa, but then, son of a bitch, you're getting work in New Jersey. Why? That just seems so weird to me.
yeah, yeah. Well, they like New Jersey. I don't know what it is with the laws or what's going on there with like the COVID stuff, but like that's one of the only places right now, other than like Indiana, that's allowing some sort of fans. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's a little ass backwards, but you know what? There's a lot of people that weren't willing to like make the sacrifice, so I did it, and then. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it's not even just because like I got to go out to Vegas. Like wrestling's taking me in all different like
Awesome.
crazy like places and I get to see like all these amazing cities that like I've always wanted to, but I had no business going to these places. But wrestling has given me that opportunity. So like, yeah, I plan on taking it as far as I could go, and it'll turn into
Awesome.
seeing all these cities and states, but it'll turn into seeing the world as well. So
But that's what you want out of your career. You want these experiences building up, match after match, city after city, and get all of these experiences built up throughout it, and all of these memories that you take from each time. You know what I'm saying? Uh,
yeah,
that's got to be amazing to start building your career up, and then now it's starting to come in a little bit more than it was before. So you've got to be very excited to be able to get your craft out there and in front of cameras. B, you're getting the repetitions in now. So that's got to be feeling really good for you. And like you said, New Jersey, I don't know what's going on over there, but there's been promotions going on left and right, left and right. I don't even think they've stopped through the whole damn thing, to be honest with you.
yeah. I don't think they did either. Yeah, it's like crazy.
uh, there is a company out there that has popped up. They were doing some cool shows when the COVID was starting to kind of not wind down by any means, but when the guidelines were coming down a little bit, and some companies were actually starting to run on the outside, if you will. Titan Championship Wrestling was one of these companies that started. They're out of New Jersey, and they were their first show, if I'm not mistaken. It might not have been their very first show, but during the COVID stuff, they did this drive-in thing where they put a ring with a canopy over it in case it rained or whatever. And then they took 22 cars and just put cars all the way around the ring and had people sit in their car.
That's
Uh,
wild.
yeah, so that was very interesting. And that was the first time I saw Titan Championship Wrestling. And I've been a fan ever since because I see familiar faces from my area on the cards and stuff, plus new names I never knew before that I'm starting to learn. So if you're doing this New Jersey run back and forth, and I know you got Changer on the table, look into Titan Championship Wrestling. I think you might be a fine fit there. I don't know how they run, how often they run, or whatever, but they've been trying to kind of keep active over there. So it's just something you might want to look up.
All right, yeah, cool. Appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because on this show, we love to do a few things. We love to lift the promotions, the talent that we're speaking to, and we want the faces that are watching, if they've never heard of Mr. Lycan, to get out there, type on the face page, hit the follow button, and be part of that thing. Or go onto the YouTube, check out his matches, and same thing with the promotions. We love to find out new promotions and new talent. So as many as I can spread around, I absolutely try to, because wrestling, it's a very hard thing to market yourself and get that fan base really starting to go. But I
Mhm.
think Titan Championship Wrestling, they're doing a fine job. What's really cool, they have these fire columns coming out at the entrance. Wow, visually that makes us freak the f out. It looks so cool on the footage and the pictures. So that's pretty fun. And I'm not taking away from the matches, but I'm just saying the entrances with the fire pod, that's pretty tight.
Yeah, the
Now,
productions always make it better.
yeah, very cool. Now I want to get back to Game Changer Wrestling because for me as a fan, whenever I heard there was a 24-hour run, I was just chomping at the bit. I was waiting. I was sitting there ready at Friday 8 p.m. Yourself as a wrestler, you must have been way more like juiced up than us fans waiting to get on into this thing and really shining your showcasing your skills. How how much adrenaline was going through one Mr. Lycan? Probably right through the roof leading up to GCW.
Well, yeah, it was. I was pretty nervous. Like, so we drove in. It's like 15 hours, and then the show started. We got there at 5. We left at midnight the night before, whatever it was. Yeah, we got there at about 5, whatever. Show started at 8. So we went to the hotel, sat there for like an hour. We didn't really sleep or anything. We all just got ready, and when we got to Philly, it was freezing. Like it felt like it was negative. And the place that we were running in, it was just like it was just harsh conditions or whatever. We had to get there at 8. Well, the show started at 8. We had to get there a little bit before. We go inside and there's sheets of all the matches and stuff, and I wasn't on until like 5, so I had to stay up all night too. And then I was just freaking out because it was an awesome experience, awesome opportunity to be a part of, like, not only GCW but like history. And yeah, man, I was freaking out. And then when the time came or whatever, like I was already pumped up to go. So it was easy. Like a lot of people were tired at that time, but like I was like, like I'm ready to go. And then after that, I was wired, so I was up that whole day too. And then we drove back. So it was a pretty crazy experience, but it turned out to be amazing.
It was. Now, visually, they had a hard cam looking down at the mat or the ring, and then they had a mobile guy, maybe two, if I'm not mistaken, maybe just one. But they had a mobile cam going around at the same time so they could do the multicam thing. Now, when the event first started, it was rolling, and then all of a sudden, it wasn't rolling. YouTube flags it for the music copyrights. It totally shuts down on the YouTube channel. There's a little copyright thing when you click on the Game Changer channel, and it absolutely was dead. You couldn't watch nothing. So
Yeah.
on the Fight TV app, you could see it, but the music and stuff wasn't being played because, again, of this copyright thing. So we as fans, I was sitting there putting stuff on face page, go here, go there. No, don't go there because you can't see this or hear that. No, go to the Twitch. No, don't go to the Twitch because they're using the Fight TV. Go to the Fight TV.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were kind of bouncing back and forth. But then when it kind of popped back in, and because as a fan, I want to see history, man. I mean, we're missing history right now. Give me history when it comes to wrestling, you know? So you're doing this drive. Did you say 15 hours? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it was about 15, yeah, with stops and all
that. Holy shit. Wow. Talk about doing the drives. Now, you are a student of Black and Brave, and you're coming out of here. Are you Conan Lycan right off the ripper? Has this been your only character or gimmick, if you will?
Yeah, it's always been Conan Lycan. So yeah, it was easy enough to like just start off right with that. I thought about changing it a couple times, but now I'm starting to get a little bit of a following, if not like with the name and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm just gonna run with it until we get to a higher company and see what they say. But yeah,
because first the higher platform, they're never gonna call you Conan. That's gonna get thrown out right off the ripper. Yeah. But please tell us why Conan Lycan, if you will.
So Jason Momoa, the guy that plays Aquaman, everyone always says that I look like him, like I'm his double and all that stuff. I get it all the time. I'll take it. He's a good-looking guy.
Wait, so, you're really not his stunt double?
Yeah, I get it all the time. So one of the movies that he did was Conan the Barbarian, and I love that movie. So I took that from that, and then I'm a big werewolf guy, but there's so many wolves in independent wrestling, and I was just like, what's different than that? So I chose Lycan from Underworld. But yeah, and I don't know. It was just something I threw together, and a lot of people, I got some good feedback on it. So whatever, I'm rolling with it.
Now, getting your craft when you're training, we're going to go like from step one. When you start your training and you're working your way through, and I know every school is different, every trainer has a different approach and such. But when you're going through the Black and Brave, could you describe to us, the fans, what do you feel was probably one of the hardest things to really get through to be able to get the go ahead to start working shows?
So
So say, was it the in-ring? Was it psychology? Because there's different aspects of bringing wrestling to the ring. Do you feel that psychology was challenging for you, or do you feel the in-ring was challenging? Or what was the hardest part working your way through the training process?
honestly, I had a pretty amazing class. Ben Carter was in our class. Solomon Tupu, the guy that I just explained. A couple of our friends from Australia. They've already been wrestling before, and I was coming from Division I football, so like I fit right in. And honestly, wrestling is probably one of the most natural things I've ever done in my life. So
Really?
not to be cocky or blow smoke or anything like that.
No.
It was easy to pick up for me, and there wasn't anything that I couldn't get one or two tries in. But I would say the hardest part is just, I would say anyone would say that the psychology of it, um, knowing when and why to do things and all that stuff, and
Mm.
yeah, that was definitely the hardest part to grasp, and still like you'll never ever get that down. Like it's the fans always change depending on where you're at, what different state. If you're in the South, if you're in the North, East, West, it doesn't matter. Like the style changes of what people like to see. So it's
Mhm.
it's tough to pick up, but once you start to like figure out who you are and how you would react to certain situations and different styles of wrestling, then it makes it a whole lot easier. And for me, being as big as I am and being able to move the way that I do, I can adapt to who I'm facing,
Mhm.
and it makes it a lot easier on me as well. But yeah, I mean, the thing that I would say the most is probably the psychology. But
Mhm.
I think everyone would agree with that, unless there's like some athletic moves that they cannot pull off. But yeah, it's tough.
Because it takes, like you said, in wrestling in general, a never ending process. You're
Mm.
always learning, and uh, I give you men and women 1,000,000% credit for jumping in that venture of being a wrestler. And I know there's a lot of them out there, but it's that perseverance that you men and women really push through, because there's so many, and I've said it 1,000 times on here. There's so many pieces of the puzzle, not only to become a singles wrestler, but you have to present yourself and the way you come out the curtain, like you've spoken. And there's just so many avenues and parts of that puzzle that really make just one wrestler, coming to that table and presenting good in-ring skill, your gimmick or your character, the way you
Mm.
hold yourself and the way you speak and present your character and such, and many other things. So I will always hats off to you men and women that persevere to be a wrestler, because I'm a skinny little dude. I would never get in that ring. And you guys and girls always respected. And I think that's what really caught my eye once I started getting older. Because I've always been a fan since a kid. But when I was getting older and learning just a tad more about wrestling, I think that's what really made me grasp and stay on to wrestling, was the respect for what you guys and girls do in the ring. You've been a fan, I'm sure, all along, or was this something that came later?
I've been a fan of wrestling since I was 3 years old. My mom put me right in front of the TV. I had my little elephant sippy cup. I was
Yeah.
watching I was watching Triple H versus Mankind and Kane, Undertaker, The Rock, Jeff Hardy was my man. Like I obsessed over wrestling, and like it got to the point where like when you get to middle school, people usually drop off, but like I didn't, and my friends were always like making fun of me. Well, some of them did. They'd make fun of me and all that, and like in the football locker room, everyone would be like, "Yeah, like he loves wrestling and all that stuff. But like, yeah, man, I never grew. I always thought it was like the coolest thing ever. I was never into like superheroes and all that stuff, but wrestling, like those guys were my heroes. Those are my superheroes right there. And like, I don't know, I've always loved it, and I always will. It's like honestly like one of my earliest memories is wrestling. So yeah.
Uh, my man brought it. My man brought it hard too. Sippy cup, elephant sippy cup.
Oh yeah, yeah. Paint the perfect visual of like what it was like. I remember just sitting there, freaking. Shout out to my mom because like, I mean, I'm sure I would have found it anyways later on. But like, my mom was into it, and yeah, we would just sit there and watch Raw every time they came to. It's now the Times Union Center, but it was the Pepsi Arena in Albany. Every time that they were there in Albany, we were there. So yeah,
That's
man,
awesome.
it's been like the love of my life. So
That is so cool to hear, man.
yeah.
Great stuff. Because we talk about support system on this show. Because without it, I feel, and again, I would never get in the ring, but I feel that without a support system, may it be mom and pops or your children, your spouse, brother, sister, no matter what it is, you got to have a little bit of something for a support system to really continue and persevere to become a wrestler. Because the head you have to keep as well as the physical part to get into that ring. And sometimes the head gets away from you and you have to kind of need a little talking to, or you just need to talk to somebody. Is there a support system that keeps you going in the wrestling aspect?
Honestly, yeah, I mean, you get all that stuff from your family and all that stuff, but they don't really know, and this is not a dig at any like they don't really know like the things it takes and like how I'm on the road and the hours and all that stuff. So I usually turn to the people that have been in my shoes and all that stuff. So I go to my trainer, or I go to Ben Carter. He's one of my best friends, and he's in the WWE now, like I said before. So we talk still almost every night. And if there's something that like I need to talk about when it comes to like wrestling and all that stuff, he's like one of the dudes that keeps me grounded the most and like keeps me motivated with everything and stuff. And I can't wait to like meet him on that platform, you know. So it's like it's a good thing to like keep me driven and all that stuff because I know what I'm working for and I know it's like something I've always wanted to do. So
Very cool. Uh, Now, the end game, if you will, WWE, is that it? Because I mean, there's other avenues now. It's not all just WWE. There's different ways to kind of move your career. Is that the end game?
Endgame's WWE for sure. I like I said, it's been the love of my life. It's always been WWE, and it's amazing that there's all these other companies now and all that stuff, and it gives everyone different options, and people have different preferences of what they like to watch and the styles and all that. But the product of WWE will always be like what I'm into, the story, uh, who's involved in all that stuff, and that's the only thing I've ever wanted in my life. So that's the goal, and I'll fulfill that.
Uh, I can't wait to see on TV. That's going to be some fun because, again, you bring the package though. You're a bigger guy. You look good, and I know you dress in the black, but you pull it off because you're a bigger guy. And the bigger guys that come out and they roar and they give us these attitudes, you want to see the bad guys in black. So you pull it off really well, and I think you're going to do just fine. And I want to revert back to your training uh, at the Black and Brave because you're in New York. There's a bunch of facilities, probably globally, that you could pick from. What brought you here at the Black and Brave?
Um, it was weird. Like I feel like it was meant to happen in a way, like because of the circumstances that like got me into Black and Brave. But I was playing football at University of Albany, and one of my teammates from high school, he was a running back, and he played at University of Iowa. I called on my friends, and I remember I was done with football. I completely mentally tapped out. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't know why I'm wasting time. Like I want to be a professional wrestler. So I talked to my friends, and my one friend that went to Iowa, his fullback on his team, when he was done, he came to Black and Brave. So I called him on the phone, he talked to me about it, let me know everything about the school, and within that day, I applied, got in, and I paid in full within the month, and
Wow.
I packed up my car, drove out here, and never looked back. And it was honestly, at the time, everyone thought I was stupid, but it was just like such a gut feeling, and it was the best decision I've ever made in my life. And it was one of those like, I'm leaving college. I worked for this to play Division I football. I'm finally here, but it wasn't what I thought it was. So I had to go with my heart, and it was the best decision I've ever made in my life. First big boy move too, to just be like, screw this, I'm out, and I left. And yeah, man, I could honestly say at this point in time, I made the right decision for sure.
uh, Not the same circumstance, but same kind of I, I don't know. I don't even want to say setting, but uh, Dave Grohl from Nirvana did the same shit. I mean, he was doing his thing, and he was a drummer at the time, but Nirvana was looking for a drummer. They called him. They go, "Hey, we want you to come out. We have a place. We're all gonna kind of jam out. If it works out, we're gonna live here." He was like, "I took everything I had and I moved across the country to Seattle."
Mm.
So it's kind of very similar situation when you just pack up, you move across the country to fulfill your dream, my friend. Because here we are, we're seeing Conan Lycan, GCW, 24-hour making history event. I pop like an MFer
Yeah.
when I see these familiar faces, but when I see Conan Lycan, because I only got a chance to see you once, and I'm like, that's Conan mother bleeping Lycan. I go, holy cow, I haven't seen him in a long time. So as a fan, I kind of lost my shit a little bit. So you must have had a great experience, as you said. Now that's come and gone. What's in the future? What do you have looking ahead of you right now? Do you have a couple dates set? That
Yeah. We got some dates set, but like you never know with this whole COVID thing. So we're just trying to. With me, I want to be able to like already have the ball in motion before all this COVID shit's over. Where like everyone thinks that they're just gonna fucking take a break. Excuse my language, but like everyone thinks that they're gonna just friggin' wait for all this shit to be over and then they're gonna start up with all that. No, 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 no. You got to get the ball rolling so when COVID is over, you could hit full stride and just go. And that's my plan. And yeah, so we got some dates set up and all that stuff, and we're just I'm just training every single day, and I'm grateful that I get to do that. And nah, it's amazing. I can't wait for crowds to be back. I don't know how long it's going to be, but for the meantime, train and try to get as much knowledge under my belt as possible, and reps, whether it's in the ring at Black and Brave or at a TV taping in Terre Haute, Indiana. Like I'm really really trying to grasp as much things as I can. So like when we're out of this thing, it's just full stride. Like let's go and let's show people who I am.
well, seeing some of the maneuvers that you were doing at GCW, uh, my I feel my man from when I seen you at SCW to now is not like a total dramatic flip flop change, but I could see that progress, and I was just so stoked to
Mm-hmm.
see you part of that event. Um, Now, there's many companies out there, obviously, and it's not to slight anybody else or whatever, but do you have any independent promotions that is in your sights that you'd really like to work specifically?
Um, so I would like to be a mainstay on GCW, and then for all the other companies, like it would be amazing to work AAW. It would be amazing to work Black Label Pro. It would be amazing to be on shoot, I don't know. Oh, Future Stars of Wrestling out in Vegas. I've talked to them. Um, yeah, I'm trying to get the core group of the best companies and just be able to go on there and be productive and show everyone what I got, because that's gonna be the best for me. And like I said, it'll be quality reps because everyone at those companies are great and everyone is like really really good. So it would be awesome to work with all those people and just really just keep trying to chip away at this dream.
Mhm. I'm going to use an example, if I might. In our area, we have Platinum Max Caster, who is part of the Shook crew. Okay, now Platinum Max Caster, he starts spreading his wings as a singles wrestler. He makes his way out to the West Coast. He did some of that United Wrestling Network stuff and whatnot. And then we started seeing him at, he's been at Beyond, and started like getting that, like you're saying, quality reps. Not only that, but you're always being seen on TV by the fans. And he started doing his thing. Then out of nowhere, my man, boom, AEW Dark. He gets put with Anthony Bowens. They become the Acclaimed. 2 dark matches, maybe 3 at most. Boom. He signed. He's legit signed at AEW right now. I feel, and I'm only using Max Caster as an example because you have a great look and you have a great in-ring thing about you. The way you move, the way you come down, and I'm going to kind of point out a couple things. When you slam somebody down and you whip your head down a little bit and you whip that hair back, it's a little emphasis by just, these little nuances that maybe some people don't see, as you're working. But I feel that you and Mr. Max Caster have kind of the same path. You're from the New England area, and then you're jostling around. You're trying to make your way. You're trying to find your footing. Mr. Lycan, you're right around the corner, my friend. If there's anybody that I speak to, you are right around the corner. I can smell what the Rock is cooking, my friend.
I appreciate that. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's the goal.
absolutely. And I wanted to take some of that stuff out of GCW and speak to you about that as a fan. Using those nuances, the way you carry your body, the way you emphasis stuff, the way you come in with your spear and you drive it in, you roll a little bit, you get on these little things that build emphasis and impact on maybe a spear that could kind of look not so good. Not with Conan Lycan. He comes into you, he rolls a little bit with his thigh. Love watching Mr. Lycan work. You're doing some great stuff out there. So the sky's the limit. Are you looking to always be a singles wrestler through your career?
Yeah. I mean, I got a chip on my shoulder, and like I've played with a team my whole entire life when it came to football and all that stuff, and now I don't want anyone. I don't want to deal with all that stuff. I don't need anyone watching my back. I just want to go out there and do my thing the way that I do it. And I truly believe that like I have something unique, and I have a lot to offer this business. And I think that within a small amount of time, I'll be able to be taken seriously. And I know it's starting to happen now, but but yeah, man, I really love this stuff. I love wrestling, and I really want to be able to like make something out of it and just be someone in this world. So yeah, I think this is my golden ticket.
When you were starting out, did you have a goal? I'm going to set a 3-year plan, 4-year plan, 5-year plan. I want to be in the WWE by my 5-year run. Was there any goals set like that when you first started up?
So I write down, I have small goals that like, I like to do that. I like to have all those little small things build up. And then I look back and I'm like, wow, I check. Like I did that. But, yeah, the plan's always been WWE, but I mean, at this point still, it's like, I don't know what events have to happen to make that happen for me. But, yeah, we're just doing all the small things that we possibly can. Get in front of the right people, get seen, and just do it, man. Like there's no other way. Like there's a lot of people in this business that like to sit around and they like to post on Instagram and talk a lot on Twitter and act like they're working hard and all that stuff. But if you're not logging those miles, if you're not showing up at these shows and the ones that matter too, because that's a big thing, like there's a real small chance that you're going to be seen and do anything with it. And I don't like to just like talk about things like, yeah, I'll say stuff, but I'm going to back it up and I'll say it once and then I'll show. And at the end of the day, like I'm just really trying to do everything possible to just like set my future up. And Yeah, dude. Like it's like I said with the COVID stuff, having this downtime to be able to really train and do all that stuff. That's a blessing in disguise to me. Everyone's could sit around and be like, "Oh, this sucks," all that shit. Yeah, it sucks, but you're getting time right now to get better. So like, if you're not doing that shit, you're never just staying in the middle. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. And if you're not putting the work in, you're getting worse. You got to do this shit. So you got to get the fuck up and get out there. Like that's
And,
it. It's cold as shit too. So there ain't no excuse out here. Like,
and that was another point of GCW. When you walk in the doors, the environment was very chilly. The commentators were saying it was freezing AF in that place.
yeah, it was like 20 degrees inside the building.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and I gotta wet my hair. I'm waiting to go out for the match. I'm wetting my hair, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, holy shit. But as soon as you get out there, you really forget about all that stuff, and then it comes back afterwards. But it's like, oh my god, I was like, wow, this is like one of the coldest experiences I've ever had in my life.
I don't mean to laugh at your demise, but I can.
Oh, you're good.
When we get to hear these stories when you're coming through the curtain, I love when you guys and girls share that kind of stuff because that's what this is all about, learning more. But not only that, hanging out as a couple of friends and talking wrestling, talking your career and stuff. I love those little stories that people share. But speaking of stories, you've done a 15-hour drive, my friend, and you said with the right people, it makes it much better. So not only do you have now, is that 15 one way?
Yep.
Okay, let me rephrase that. You've got 30 hours of driving, and I'm going to use this one instance. Maybe what I like to do is try to get a little road story out of the fine talent that comes on this show, because there's always one little story that makes you look at you're smiling already. Now you don't have to be detailed if you don't want to. If it involved getting arrested and you still want to tell us, please do. But do you have a fun antidote, if you will, a road story that you can share with us, the fans?
Oh man. I don't know about that. I mean, we like to keep things interesting and a lot of stuff. I mean, we'll do like little funny things and all that stuff where like if someone passes out, we'll see how many Sour Patch Kids we can fit in their mouth before they wake up. But like we don't want to go too crazy with it and all that stuff. Like yeah, we had some experiences with some stuff, but yeah, I don't know. Like when you're in there with the guys and stuff like that, I mean there ain't nothing else to do, so everyone sits there and bullshits. And when you're in there with dudes that have already been doing this for a while, like you get some good stories out of them too. So yeah, wrestling is the coolest thing, but I have met some of the weirdest, craziest people in my whole entire life ever since I've been involved in wrestling. And like the stories that I have heard are absolutely insane. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay, fair enough. As a good looker, have you run into some kookiness with the fans? And I know the fans have been gone for a bit, but have you run into any kookiness? The ladies wanting to maybe cut your hair or give you a smooch, jump on your back, whack your ass. I mean, you've got to have something going on there.
Oh yeah. We've had. This is a little quick one for you. I mean, we've had. I was trying to get heat, and there was this girl in the front row, and yeah, she just I don't know. She had her cigarettes tucked into her bra and all that stuff, whatnot. And we're in the middle of nowhere, and all I said was, "There." Like I rolled out of the ring, and I'm like by the apron. I'm like, "Cigarettes are bad for you," and I hopped into the ring. So at the end of the night, I'm trying to put my bag in my car or whatnot, and I'm in the trunk, and I get a tap on my shoulder, and I turned around, and she's like, "What'd you mean by that?" And I was like, "What did I mean by what?" And she was like, "You said you want to meet me in the bathroom," and I was like, "No. I did not say I want to meet you in the bathroom. I said I could see where you got mixed up. I said cigarettes are bad for you." And she's like, "You didn't say that." And I was like, "I promise you right now, I did not say I was going to meet you in the bathroom. I said cigarettes are bad for you." But yeah, that's the type of stuff I run into every now and then.
That is hilarious AF right there. That is funny ass shit, man. That is some good stuff. Uh, uh, why a heel, Mr. Lycan?
I'm babyface now.
Wait a minute. Really?
Yeah, I switched it up since I got out here. So like heel is easy. Like I mean, you go out there, be a jerk, whatever. Yeah, you get some heat, all that stuff. But like, and again, this is not me bragging by any means. The move set that I do at some point down the line, I was getting cheered, and like the promoters were like, "Well, you're heel, but you're doing cool as shit. So like, what the hell?" And then I got out here, and my trainers were just like, we had our own show we have our own company called SCW, called Scott County Wrestling, and we first show, I was nervous. They were like, "Yeah, you're gonna be babyface," and I was like, "I don't know how to do this." But you have to learn both aspects anyway. So I was like, okay, I'll jump right into it. And I went out. The crowd loved me. I just do what I do. And yeah, I've been babyface since. But I mean, you're going to have to learn both anyways. And whatever company you work for, you're going to have to change or whatnot. So yeah, it's been a good experience. But yeah, man, I mean, I can do it both now.
Awesome. Surprising. Kind of flipped me for a second there. Now, when you're coming out, you have to pick a specific entrance music. And well, thank God there was technical difficulty. I really thought Mr. Lycan hung up on me because I was chit chatting too much. Welcome back, welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
I was speaking. You have to pick what you want to wear. You have to kind of decide how you're going to speak. But there's also one part, you have to pick an entrance music. And many people, when they start off, they'll pick some random rock song or a random metal song or rap song, if you will. For the most part, it's kind of generalized like that. What are you coming out to for entrance music?
I come out to 10,000 Feet by I See Stars. I really like that type of music. That's why I listen to and all that stuff. And like, it's got to be something that you got to feel and believe when you're wrestling, whatever character you are, or whatnot. You got to believe it, and like that's what gets me going before my match. Like if I had to listen to any music, it would be that anyway. So like when I hear my music hit, and I need that little pick me up, that's it right there. So yeah, I really love that stuff. I love that hard stuff.
Is it a switch? Say you're behind the curtain, it's show night. You're gearing up, blah blah blah. There's a couple matches going on, leading up to your match. You throw the old water on the head. You're looking ravishing, and your music hits. Is that the light switch right there?
Yeah, that's the switch, man. Like it's as soon as I hear like that double bass on the drums go, and the screaming and all that stuff, like it's on from there. And like I come out of the curtain, and it's weird too, because it's like that's where the nerves go away as well. Like I could compare it to like that first hit in football. Like I would always be nervous before my football games. As soon as kickoff happens and I hit someone, it's on. Like I'm ready to go. As soon as I come through that curtain and I hear that double bass, it's on. So yeah, man, it's like a switch. It's weird. It's awesome.
I know you're young in your career right now. Is there a list by any chance? Because I know there's so many fine men and women on the independent scene right now that are trying to get to that higher plateaus of the AEW, WWEs, and such. Is there a list that Mr. Lycan has, maybe mentally or written down, that you would like to work with? Do you have something like that?
Of talent? Yeah, I mean, there's some of the people that I see out there, like Jordan Oliver. He's a dude from Newburgh, and like I just found that out. We were talking at a show, and like he's amazing. I'm like, dude, you live like an hour away from where, like hour and a half, whatever, from Albany, and all that stuff. We're talking about that. He's great. But most of the dudes actually just got picked up, like Blake Christian or Alex Zane and all those dudes. Like they're all taken off, but those are guys I wanted to work. But hopefully now it's just you got to be on a larger platform when I work with those guys. So yeah, just got to do all the right things. So I don't have a specific list right now as it is, but I'm willing to fight anyone that wants to fight me.
Obviously, WWE is your go-to when you click on the old wrestling. Are you looking at different wrestling, being New Japan, ROH, AEW, and the list goes on, MLW. And not only that, being the televised and more seen product, but then are you looking at the independent scene and keeping an eye who's coming up or who's going around? Are you keeping your eye on all of that stuff?
Oh yeah. We all like because a bunch of us wrestlers, we live in this apartment together here, so we're always watching all types of wrestling, and like we made friends with all these people. Like when you're at all these shows, you're with the same group of dudes every time you're in different states and all that stuff. So like you get to really know everyone. You watch their matches, and that's all that we've been really doing. And you like to soak everything up too because you want to know what people are doing. So if you get into a match with them and all that stuff, oh, I got this crazy sequence, whatnot. But yeah, we watch everything, see who's out and about. But yeah, it's like we're in wrestling college. That's what it is out here.
It's like a wrestling frat is what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. That's like what it is out here in Iowa. There ain't nothing to do anyways, unless I don't know, we want to go get lost in a cornfield. So
that's hilarious. Going to the Black and Brave, do the students get starstruck because of what's happening inside such confines?
Yeah, they do. They shouldn't. They shouldn't because they should be wanting to come here to work, not be Seth Rollins' little friends or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, you're gonna like he's freaking. He knows it. Like he's one of the best performers in the world. So it's like he's gonna get that stuff. But they weed out the people throughout training to see who really wants to be here and who doesn't. But yeah, freaking Black and Brave is awesome, and being around Colby, well, I call it Seth, Colby and Becky, like they're just amazing people with amazing knowledge, and who wouldn't want to be around people like that?
Exactly. That, especially to start your career. I mean, even later in your career, if you wanted to check out that facility, but to start off in such an environment like that, I think you're in a very, very good position right here, where you are in your career. And I know, the world is effed up. And like you said, don't be sitting there playing your fucking Nintendo. Get out there, get the work done and shit like that. Because my man, Mr. Lycan, we see what he's doing. He's getting it out there. Driving 15 hours. 15 hours one way. Wow. That's a hell of a drive, my friend, to get into some GCW. Now, do you find yourself really reaching out to a lot of promotions? And when you do reach out to a lot of promotions, if that's what you're doing, do you find that you're getting more, we're all set, or no selling you, if you will, or are you getting good responses when you're reaching out to the promotions?
Yeah, so it's weird. It's like I'm in an upside down world. When I was in New York, I hit up everyone. I messaged everyone, and people would leave me on red, or they'd be like, "Yeah, send me like your highlights, promo pics, whatnot." They would read it, never reply to me, and I would be annoying as shit. I would be like, "Yo, what's up?" Like, if it's a no, just tell me. Don't like whatever.
Exactly.
And they no one would ever answer me and all that stuff. Uh, Out here, like, yeah, I've been getting some emails and all that stuff, and I'm not sitting here saying I'm God's greatest creation, but yeah, they freaking they I've got some companies just hitting me up and stuff, and I'm like, this is so crazy now, like, but that's because, like I said, like you get out of it what you put in. So like when you go out there and you get on like these companies that are big deals and stuff, and you actually do well and all that stuff, it's gonna get seen. So like you got to really make sure your preparation is ready for your opportunity, because when that meets, then you're good. But yeah, that's why we always stay ready and go on all these long drives. It may sound crazy to people, and most people think it's not worth it. Even other workers are like, yeah, that's stupid. But I mean, it's working out pretty well for me, and it worked out pretty well for Steve Manders, and it worked out really well for Benjamin Carter. That's all I got to say.
Well said. Proof is in the pudding, right there, my friend.
Exactly.
As they would say. Now, I know we've been talking for about an hour or so. And again, I do appreciate you setting some time aside.
Yeah.
Now, I don't have a specific run time because I could talk wrestling. I don't know. Maybe we could do a 24-hour run with Mr. Lycan and never turn this damn thing off. And I know you specifically don't want to hear me for 24 hours. I'll tell you that right now. But maybe in the future, because you are at a very young tenure in your career, maybe in the near future, you keep being yourself, being active. Maybe we can reconnect, see where Mr. Lycan is, see what's going on in his career, see where he's worked at and such, see what's going on. Is that something that we could maybe do in the future, my friend?
Oh yeah, no, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I'd love to. The other podcast I did ask the same thing. I'm always down for this stuff, and that would be pretty cool too to also compare like where I'm at right now compared to 6 months from now. So yeah,
Right.
dude, that'd be awesome. Of course.
If you get picked up by NXT within 6 months, can you please come on before you get there? Because I am not going to be able to get a hold of you once you go through those performance center doors.
Yeah. I'll shoot you a DM.
But that's another thing about our area. We're seeing a lot of the New England scene, and I know there's many other men and women across the country and the globe that are getting picked up at the performance center. But man, it's so amazing to see, and I know you're familiar with this guy, uh, August Gray. He has a different name. It used to be Anthony Green, and then he was AG Retrosexual Anthony Green, if you will. Then he gets picked up by the Performance Center. Now he's still AG, but he's August Gray. But my point being is, I've chit chatted with Mr. Gray before, and not on an interview as such, but like I'll never be able to talk to this dude again. Uncle Vince has got a stranglehold on him. Uh, so we love. My point being is, we love to see our local talent go through the process, do the drives. Even if you're evolving as a character, Mr. Lycan might not be Mr. Lycan in 6 months or a year. You never know. He might evolve his character. He might think it might be stale for him right now, or the fans aren't popping the way they were before. I've seen it many, many a time. We've all seen it in wrestling. You kind of go through these stages of Conan Lycan, of your gimmick. But I know we talked about that being your only gimmick up to date. Do you feel we'll take the dub out? Do you feel that this character right now is really you're set, you're 100% in, and this seemingly right now is what's working for Conan Lycan?
Yeah, so I mean, you don't want to get married to an idea because that could easily change, and then you're gonna be devastated and all that stuff. But I mean, it is like I believe the best wrestlers with the best characters are who they are with it turned up to 10. I'm getting there. I'm building confidence and everything like that, and I am who I am. I got a chip on my shoulder. I've had a rough life, but I don't sit there and bitch about it because I always know there's someone out there that's got it worse than you. So you can't sit there and complain and be a little idiot. But like, you just gotta like. I'm a hard nosed person. I like to really earn everything. I don't want any handouts. I don't want anyone watching my back and everything like that. I want to earn it. And yeah, it's truly like who I am. So it's tough to like really when people are like, what's your gimmick and all that stuff. Yeah, you could say like a wolf, big old crazy guy and all that stuff. But it really just comes down to just I'm a hard nosed person, and I really like doing this stuff, and I'll fight anyone, and I don't back down from anyone either. So
Do you mind the intergender stuff? Because there's a lot of that going on right now.
I don't want no parts of that. I'm just saying just because like I don't know. It's just like for me, I also don't want to freaking I don't know, slam the shit out of a girl or some shit. Like
No, you're not the only one that feels like I've spoken to many talent that are open, but many talent are like I feel that it's just not a legit thing that a woman is going to come up and whack me in the face or pin me for the 1, 2, 3, like a real scenario kind of thing. So I get many different answers to that intergender thing.
yeah, it's more so the fact that like maybe if I was like a little cruiserweight dude, then yeah. And that's not throwing any shots at any small guys or girls or anything like that. It's just that for someone to step in the ring with me at 6'2" and then 250 plus pounds, like I don't. There's no believability in that for me. For me, I'm just like, what the hell? But and also too, like I'd feel wrong like slamming the shit out of someone that's not a dude. But yeah, no, I mean, I really like women's wrestling and all that stuff is awesome, and like that, it's evolved so much into like,
Oh wow,
it's evolved so much into like true amazing. Like they're so competitive now, so athletic, and they're everywhere now and stuff like that. And I really think that's really good for wrestling because they're not just like girls in bikinis now. There's like actually girls in there getting after it and all that stuff, which is it's awesome to see.
Yeah. To see the bra and panty era take a hiatus and not come back, I'm fine with that. Yeah, we all like eye candy and all of that good stuff, but that wasn't a women's division. Right now, wow, women wrestling is off the charts.
Yeah, it's amazing now. Like just like the athleticism, it's just on a whole nother level. But that's the progression of wrestling right there. It's just like wrestling every however many years just changes, and like whether it's just like talent or the way the fans react. Like, I mean, if you're a heel now, you're cool as shit. And like, I mean, there's no true, like if you are a baby face, you're usually just getting booed out of the building now. But I mean, I don't know. Everything changes in wrestling. It's so crazy to watch, but you just got to adapt to it. That's part of the fun too.
We've definitely said that on the show, and I feel it's almost like a 6 year era. It comes in chunks out of nowhere. Things just kind of start evolving right in front of our eyes. New maneuvers or the way the crowd reacts, like you're talking about. Things just kind of happen out of nowhere. They just, bloop, they're right there.
Yeah, man. It's like, I mean, think about this too. It's like dudes like Ricochet. It's like, how do you top that shit? But like when I was a kid, Rey Mysterio was the dude, and Jeff Hardy, like the stuff that Jeff Hardy and Rey Mysterio were doing was just like, oh my god. And now you got Ricochet doing 630s and double backs off of war games and all that stuff. It's like, dude, how do you top that? I don't know if it's even physically possible, but yeah, wrestling has just evolved so much over time. It's crazy for all aspects.
Yeah. Before I let you go, I want to do two things. Is there a message or something we haven't spoke about that you'd like to talk to the fans or peers, or just a message in general that we haven't talked about that you'd like to the forum is yours if you would like to speak about anything, really.
I mean, if you're a fan of me, and if you've been watching my stuff or anything like that, or I mean, this, like I said, like I'm so new to this stuff, but just work hard. That's the only message I got. There's a lot of fraudulent things that happen in wrestling on the indie scene where, like I said before, people, they like to talk a lot and all that stuff. If you're going to talk about some of the stuff, just do it. It's tough, and it's supposed to be, and you're going to get out of it what you put in and all that stuff. I'm just starting my journey now, but there's people need to really just take the time to like think about what they want, if they truly love wrestling, if they truly want to be good in wrestling, or if they just want to be on the indies and they want to be a superhero on the weekend, whatever. You have to really like think about it and not sit around and stuff like that. Work hard, and you're gonna get it back. So that's all I could really say as a young vet.
Another thing that I thought of real quick, like your finishing move, you kind of grab the dude, you throwing him back up, and then all of a sudden he dies in your arms on the mat. Well, what's that called? And please don't ever do that to me. If I piss you off, please don't do that to me. What is that maneuver called, sir?
I mean, I basically just do like the end of days, but like they, I don't know, some of the people don't want to like call it that because they don't want me ripping off Baron Corbin so much or whatever. But one of my trainers said that it would be awesome to call it like the silver bullet or something, and it goes with like werewolves and all that stuff. So yeah, right now I'm rocking with it. It's called the silver bullet. We just thought of that maybe 2 weeks ago. So yeah.
All right. Cool. Again, I reiterate, please don't do that to me. please.
I got you.
Now, before we do let you go, where can we find Conan Lycan? Could you give us the old social medias, if you will, so we can find you, follow you, stalk? I mean, just follow you, not stalk you, and be part of what Conan Lycan is bringing to the table.
It's just at Conan Lycan. That's for all my social medias. I changed it like at my Instagram, it's my shoot name and all that stuff. But like if you type in at Conan Lycan, it will pop up as well. So
okay,
yeah. But
boys and girls, if you don't know who Conan Lycan is, go on the face page, go on the Twitter, go on the YouTube, look up some of his stuff. Again, short, young career right now, but he's making a mark, working in GCW, making history with many other fine men and women on the scene right now. I was so stoked to see you on that thing, man. That was so surprising for me as a fan. That was awesome.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. So go look them up. If we've talked about a couple companies or what have you, called the call letters or the companies, go look those up because we like to spread the word of our talent and promotions. With all of that being said, this Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, Conan Lycan. Thank you so much, my friend, for spending the time with us, the fans.
Thank you for having me, dude. I appreciate it. Anytime.